Alright, here we're going to talk about the journal entries, the general journal, the general ledger, some other reports that you're going to need to do when you do payroll. And so we'll get back into, and again, my payroll file already has the October 9th payroll in it. And recall from part 2 that I went into reports and got my payroll report. You do that every time you do payroll. Now, every time you do payroll, you also have your 2 main payroll entries, and in this case, we'll also have a 3rd journal entry every time we do payroll. And so, I'm going to hit up at the top where it says Options, and I'm going to say current payroll journal entry. Okay, now I had already done it for a previous video, but I'm going to say yes, I want to generate it again. Yours is just going to say, are you sure you want to generate this journal entry? And you just say yes. Okay, now here is the journal entry. They've debited all these salaries and wages expense for the various departments and types, and now they've credited all these payable liability accounts for all the withholdings, and down at the bottom they've credited payroll cash for the net pay that came off of that payroll report. So you are going to say post this, okay, and then that posts that journal entry, and you can say close. Then you hit the options button. You go down to the employer's payroll taxes, and yes, and here it shows your payroll tax expense being debited and all your payable accounts for everything that the employer has to pay, matching the FICA and the FUTA and the SUTA. And again, you would say post. You would, of course, want to take a look at it and see, does it look remotely correct? Okay, your numbers may differ from mine. Mine is an older version even than what's on in H601. So, but your numbers in your book should probably be fairly close. And they show you screenshots in the book. So you would say post. Okay? Now then, we have a 3rd journal entry, because notice that in our 1st journal entry we credited payroll cash for the net pay. So in other words, we have a separate payroll checking account. The company has 2 checking accounts, a regular checking account and a payroll checking account. And many companies do this because the accounts payable person, or whoever is in charge of doing the bank reconciliations for the bank accounts, if the payroll checks are all mixed up with the regular checks in the regular checking account, that means your accounts payable person, or who's ever doing the bank rec, is going to see everybody's paycheck amount. And sometimes we don't want that to happen. We want only the payroll people to know those amounts. They have to sign all kinds of stuff about confidentiality and how they can go to jail and blah, blah, blah. A lot of times a company will have a separate payroll checking account, and only the payroll checks will be run through that, and all the regular, any other checks will be run through the regular checking account. And then someone from the payroll department will actually do the bank rec for the payroll checking account. The only problem with that is that you got all these payroll checks going out of the payroll checking account, but you have no money coming in, because everything customers give us when we sell stuff is all going into the regular checking account. So what we need to do every time we do payroll is to make sure we transfer some money from our regular checking account into our payroll checking account so that the money is there to cover the payroll checks. So in this case, I have net pay of $11,065.41. And so I need to make sure that that amount of money gets transferred from the regular account into the payroll account. Okay? And so my date is already October 9th, so I leave that. I clicked on the reference which says payroll tax, but I'm going to say general, meaning this is just a general ledger type of thing. Then I click over on the account, and it's asking me the account. Now I happen to see, I'm looking at it right here with my eyeballs. I need account 12, which is payroll cash. I need to debit that. Okay, and so I'm going to put in 12, and then I'm going to go over to the debit account, debit side, and I'm going to put in that same number of the net pay, $11,065.41. Okay? Okay, now what I did is I just pressed enter. And when I pressed enter, I get this box, journal entries out of balance. All I put in was a debit. Okay, and we know from Accounting 101, debits must equal credits. And so, do I want to post this? No, I don't want to post that. Okay, and so I need to tab over when you're doing this stuff. Now I tabbed over until I got into the account column again. Now I need to credit the regular checking account because I'm going to write a check or I'm going to transfer money out of it. So I need to credit the regular checking account. Well, I don't know what that number is. So here's this button here, chart of accounts, and there it is, account number 11. And you can click on that twice and it'll bring it up. Now I need to go to my credit column and put $11,065.41. Now I can press enter, and that posted. That automatically posted that. Okay, so you're going to want these 3 journal entries, 2 of which the software will generate for you, and you just have to look at them, make sure they look reasonably correct, and click post. And then the other one, which you need to do yourself.